Priest in Peril. Whether you are a non-combat skiller, a low-level PK pure, or just a very specific kind of restricted account like myself, you dread the thought of having to complete Priest in Peril out of fear of ruining the stats on your restricted account. But this quest is a requirement to unlock Mauritania, and more importantly for you low-level Ironmen, the Canifis Agility course. And you may be wondering, why is it that people with these types of accounts hate this quest? Well, it's because of this guy right here, the Temple Guardian. This guard dog here is the bane of low-level and stat-restricted players alike, as you have to best it in one-on-one combat and deal at least 1 HP of damage. That means using some items like the Ring of Recoil alone is not going to be enough, as you yourself have to do that damage. The Temple Guardian is immune to magic completely, and for me, a magic-only locked Ironman, that posed a great challenge. So I used my skills as a research scientist in my day job to hit the forums in search of a solution to this problem in what ended up being an over 20-hour-long experiment. In the past, we've seen great minds come up with tricks to get past the Temple Guardian, such as stockpiling Rings of Recoil, or even grinding thieving and traversing into the deep wilderness to pickpocket a poison dagger. But both of those pose their own underlying issues. The poison dagger route is incredibly brilliant, but has one major drawback. If you're a hardcore Ironman, or even an ultimate, you do not want to risk your status and livelihood just to go out there to get a dagger. Alternatively, stockpiling Rings of Recoil for an Ironman has proven tedious, and the kills will take extremely long, as you are only able to deal back 1 damage, and you have to be hit every single time to deal back that damage. And then I found it, something that could shake up what's already known and considered meta when it comes to solving this problem. Poisoned dynamite. If you've never heard of this item before, let me tell you what the deal is. It's dynamite that is poisonous. It's made by taking any regular old dynamite and with 50 fire making, introducing a small herb called nightshade into the mix, creating a lethal explosive that will blast us into the graces of Mauritania. This bad boy can deliver a whopping max hit of 6 with a low level account that would normally struggle to hit even a 1 on this hound sent from hell. And with an update to this item on December 13th, 2022, my magic-locked Ironman's trajectory in life completely changed. A simple update that read, "Will now work on the Temple Guardian." This is it, I thought, and out I set on a journey to explore the possibilities of beating this boss with a new method not commonly used and definitely not documented in a way like this before. While trying to test this theory as an Ironman, there remained one very prevalent issue: acquiring poison dynamite. This sent me down a rabbit hole, leading me to 3 possible options for your character to acquire such an explosive: Wintertot supply crates, making it yourself, and a specific dynamite store in Koran locked behind 15% Lovakenj favor, where you can buy 1,000 per reset. Each method has its benefits and its drawbacks. At first I noticed that in Wintertot, Ironmen commonly acquire large amounts of dynamite over their grind to 99 fire making, but as I was a brand new Ironman, I didn't have the luxury of having a stockpile of dynamite so large that you could threaten a first world country with. So soloing Wintertot for maximum chances proved too tedious and draining for this to be an efficient use of my time. So I tried the next best thing. If I can't reliably get dynamite as a drop in Wintertot, then I can just make it with my own 2 hands. But of course, fearing the worst, I looked at the ingredients and was met with a suspected roadblock. Nightshade. Requires 63 farming to harvest, and I'm on a brand new Ironman. This was a problem I was able to solve quite quickly, however, as I had just recently done the quest Watchtower on my main, and remember that there was a cave nightshade spawn in the Scavid Caves by Castle Wars, so there I went to world hop and collect as many as I could. Then came the issue of saltpeter, which quite like dynamite itself was a common enough drop from Wintertot supply crates that luckily I had a few lying around and didn't have to worry about generating any myself. But if you do need to find saltpeter, you can find 5 nodes northeast of the Woodcutting Guild in Hosidius. Next was volcanic sulfur. To acquire this, make sure you start the quest Plague City and grab some dwell berries to make a gas mask. Alternatively, you can use a Slayer mask and or helmet, but be sure that you're using the spider safe spot and bring some food to allow yourself to maneuver around the poisonous clouds that will do damage to you. Next up was juniper charcoal, which can be found south of Port Piscarilius on the beaches. You can farm some juniper logs north of the charcoal furnaces on the beach, and for 600 gold pieces and about 16 to 18 hours of your time, you can get a stack of charcoal for your dynamite. It was at this point, however, that I realized I was in a race against time. I didn't want to waste 16 hours, so I thought I would go for route number 3. buying it from a store. On Krend, near where you were mining volcanic sulfur, there is a shop that will sell up to 1,000 dynamite for decently cheap. The requirement is that you have to have 15% Lovakench favor in order to use the shop, and if you noticed while you were mining the sulfur, you were getting Lovakench favor at a rate of about 0.03% favor every other tick just about. And while this is time consuming, after only about 500 sulfur you should have the 15% favor you need to purchase from this shop. I used all 3 of these methods in my attempt to kill the Guardian over about 20 attempts, and I've compiled a ton of vital information because of that, and I highly recommend these tips if you're going to attempt this yourself. To start, as warning, similar to those that use the Ring of Recoil method, when using the Poison Dynamite, if you do not land a physical blow by your character's hand, it will not count as a KC, and I learned this the hard way for the sake of science, so you would not have to. It's a ticket, no recoil. Oh, and there it goes! Let's see if it counted with the poison. It does not seem to have worked. That is tragic. This is a crucial tip. The hit accuracy of dynamite is actually calculated based off of the attack type of your main hand weapon, your fire making level, and your total stats and bonuses, as verified here in these tweets by Modash. If you, for example, have a high range level and a low attack level, it's advised to hold your best ranger gear, as the Temple Guardian is susceptible to range attack and you'll have a higher accuracy chance for landing a Poison Dynamite proc. As a mage only account, I couldn't benefit from either melee or ranged, so I at some times would equip the bow for the +8 range strength, or I would even use a cup of tea to boost my attack +3 and equipped my Staff of Fire for a higher melee attack accuracy. To use the Poison Dynamite, make sure you have a tinderbox in your inventory, otherwise you'll be unable to light the fuse. And to use, simply click on the Poison Dynamite and then click on your target. Your character will run up and stick the explosive onto your target, and after a few moments an animation will go off and you will either have hit or splashed. If you land a hit splat, wait a few moments to see if the poison has taken effect before you try to reset the fight too early. I also advise that if you are bringing a Ring of Recoil, you do not have it equipped before you land a successful poison, as the poison can only take effect if the target is at full HP. If you take damage and it recoils back to the dog, it will cancel out a Poison Dynamite proc before it can take effect. This is especially devastating if it's your last dynamite. If you would like to see my full playthrough from start to finish of this journey to complete Priest in Peril as a mage-only Ironman restricted to PvP worlds, subscribe and you'll be the first to know when my series, Magic Locked, releases with all the footage and strategies that went into the making of this video. Give it a like if you enjoyed and would like to see more, and have a great day wherever and whoever you are.